All right, let's talk about something that, if you work in data, you've almost certainly felt. It's that sinking feeling when you pour weeks, maybe even months, into building something you're proud of, only for it to gather digital dust. Today, we're digging into the dashboard graveyard, and we're going to figure out how to stop sending our work there.
So, be honest. Have you ever built a dashboard that absolutely nobody used? Yeah, it hits a nerve, right? You get the request, you do the work, you build what you think is a really elegant, useful tool, and then crickets. It is so frustrating, but I promise you, it's not just you. This is a huge problem.
I mean, Seattle Data Guy just nails that feeling right here. The polite thank you, followed by absolute silence. You check the stats a month later and, yep, 0 clicks. It's not about ego, it's about impact. You want the things you build to actually help people make decisions. And when they don't, they end up in the dashboard graveyard.
But look, this is bigger than just one project that didn't land. The dashboard graveyard isn't a personal failure. It's a massive symptom of a system-wide problem that the data world has been wrestling with for, gosh, over a decade now. The root of the problem, really, is the whole idea of self-service analytics. Remember the promise? It was going to be this incredible new world where we just give everyone access to data and they magically find their own answers. Vendors sold us this dream, companies spent billions trying to build it, and yet it just hasn't worked out that way.
Let's just get real about it. Here are the inconvenient truths. 10 years into this revolution, and companies still can't answer super basic questions. We're all suffering from dashboard fatigue. There are just too many of them. And your CEO? She doesn't want dashboard homework with 30 different filters to play with. She just wants an answer. The numbers are still buried, KPIs still conflict, and you know what? Excel is still king in so many places. That tells you everything. If there was some perfect one-size-fits-all process for this, we'd all be using it. The system is broken.
So if self-service isn't the answer, what is going on? Well, what if the problem is less about technology and more about psychology? Stay Sassy has a pretty provocative way of looking at this.
Okay, wow. That's a spicy take, right? Adult pacifiers. But let's be honest, there's something to it. So many dashboards seem to exist just to make managers feel better, to soothe their anxiety about what's happening. They're a security blanket, not a tool for making tough decisions.
And that brings us to the real heart of the issue. The problem isn't Tableau or Power BI. It's not the user, it's the purpose. We got so obsessed with the what, just providing data, that we totally lost sight of the why. Why are we even looking at this number in the first place?
So, how do we climb out of this mess? How do we start building things that actually get used? It all comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Let's call it the actionability test.
Here it is. The golden rule, straight from Stay Sassy. Any metric you track must drive an action if it changes. Think about it. If a number on your dashboard goes up or down, and all you can say is, that's interesting, then that metric is a waste of your time. It has to be tied to a specific action. No exceptions.
So how do we actually put this into practice? It's a 3-step cycle. First, you have to constantly review your metrics for accuracy. Data gets stale, things break, it's going to happen. Second, you have to set expectations. This is key. Before you even look at the numbers, you need to define what's good and what's bad, what's a real signal and what's just noise. And third, and this is the most critical part, you have to prioritize action. If a number crosses that line you defined, you have to do something about it. That commitment is what gives the metric its value.
Okay, the golden rule is great in theory, but let's get super practical. How can you use this thinking like tomorrow on your very next project to make sure it's actually useful?
According to Seattle Data Guy, this is it. This is the magic question. Before you write a single line of SQL, before you even open your BI tool, you have to ask your stakeholder, what decision will this help you make? What action will you take based on this data? And don't let them off the hook with a vague answer. Your job isn't to be a data vending machine, it's to be a decision architect.
Let's make this crystal clear. Looking at page views over time is kind of interesting, I guess, but what do you do with that? It's a vanity metric. Now compare that to customer acquisition cost by channel. Now you have a real choice to make. Should we spend more on Google or on Meta? See the difference? Total revenue is just history, but churn rate by customer segment? Now you can build a targeted plan to keep those customers. One is just data gossip. The other is a roadmap for action.
In the end, this isn't about fixing one dashboard. It's about changing the whole culture. It means you define what self-service means for your team, not what some software vendor tells you it means. It means you build a bias for action. You build for decisions,
not for aimless exploration. And please, for the love of all that is holy, simplify. Remove every metric, every filter that doesn't directly help someone make a choice.
And that really is the bottom line. Our goal as data professionals isn't to produce more data. It's not to build more dashboards. The goal is to help our organizations make better, faster decisions. That's it. That's the only metric for our own success that truly matters.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last question from Stay Sassy that I want you to take back to your team. Ask them and ask yourself, when was the last time we actually did something because of a metric on one of our dashboards? And if the answer is just a long, uncomfortable silence, well, now you know you've got a dashboard full of pacifiers. But you also have the tools to fix it. Thanks for tuning in.